Tonight, dramatic twist in the disappearance of little Haleigh Cummings, a custody battle over Haleigh's brother, Ron Jr., set to explode at any moment. The gloves are coming off as police enter the 6th week of desperately searching for Haleigh. Her parents have started attacking each other with new claims of child abuse and drug use. Here on Issues, last night, Haleigh's mom, Crystal Sheffield, made a stunning claim about Misty Crosland, who is the new wife of her ex, Ron Cummings, and the last person to see little Haleigh the night she went missing.
She's been out doing drugs. He's caught her with drug dealers, and I don't feel safe with him there.
No comment from Misty. Cops reportedly say there is no available criminal history on Misty. We have also learned that just yesterday, Crystal Sheffield's new attorney met with Florida's Department of Children and Families, begging them to investigate claims, and I repeat, claims of abuse that allegedly left a child bloodied at the Cummings home.
When a parent beats a child until the child is bloodied, that is a crime. It's legally and morally wrong, and he needs to be brought to justice.
And someone has told you that?
Yes.
Ron's grandmother, Annette Sykes, says she is enraged by these charges and responded to these horrifying allegations.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ron spanked his children just like he said, just like Children's Services say you can spank them on the rear end.
Will this rift between Haleigh's parents take the focus off finding their precious daughter? And could Misty and Ron's wedding be a strategy to boost their chances of retaining custody of Ron Jr.? Meantime, the new Haleigh Bug Foundation, created to coordinate tips, had an unwelcome guest. Get this, an accused child molester showed up hoping to donate office supplies? Unbelievable. We will have all the details, and I will be taking your calls. Give me a holler. 1-877-JVM-SAYS. That's 1-877-586-7297. But first, my fabulous expert panel, Melissa Vranich, clinical psychologist, Janie Weintraub, criminal defense attorney, Paul Callan, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, Vicki Ziegler, divorce attorney, plus Rick Robinson, former West Virginia state trooper and professor at Beckfield College in Ohio. All right, let's jump right in. Janie, do you think all these allegations are going to lead us to little Haleigh who's missing, or are they more about the brewing custody battle for little Junior?
I think it's just jockeying positions for the custody, and unfortunately it's distracting from looking or talking about finding Haleigh.
But Rick Robinson, I mean, you're a former state trooper. If this mom feels her son is in danger, and let's face it, she does have a couple of points. There was another child of hers that went missing under the same watch of these two people. Shouldn't she do everything to get that child?
I'm wondering about a couple of things. One of them, I'm wondering why Crystal didn't have custody to begin with. What was going on with that? You got a guy who's 25 years old and a young lady who's 17, and I'm wondering how did that guy, you and I both know men rarely get custody. So I'm wondering about that. And then looking at these allegations of abuse, it's very common. Anytime there's any type of investigation, whether it be a murder investigation or a missing person or whatever, where someone along the way will start saying the other person was spanking their kid and so on. But Ron, in the very first interview about did he abuse his child, he rolls off the words about Department of Children and Family Services, like Department of Health and Human Services. Those words don't just typically roll off of people's tongues. So
unless
this is a guy, he's had some kind of relationship.
Yeah.
There's been something going on for some time.
Yeah, and in fact, we had gotten a report through a reporter, we can't confirm this ourselves, that police had been called to the home, but that it was because neighbors complained of loud arguments. So that's not the same thing as a beating, which this family, Ron Cummings, completely denies. Let's listen to what Crystal said last night on this very show. Hear issues about Ron Jr. living with his father and stepmother.
My daughter's missing. He has a 17-year-old that he is married to now. She's a child. Obviously, she's been out doing drugs. He's caught her with drug dealers, and I don't feel safe with him there.
Now, these are very serious accusations. We have to say, we tried to reach Misty for her reaction to these charges, got no response. She has an open invitation to appear on this show and tell her side of the story. We want to be fair. We want to tell all sides. Meantime, law enforcement says Misty has no available criminal history.
She was a juvenile.
Misty,
Well, because she's a juvenile. Yeah, that's
well,
exactly
yeah,
right.
it is a cryptic comment, but that's the only comment we got, and that's why we're sticking with it. Now,
But Ron, on the other hand, has a rather lengthy criminal history.
we're going to get to that in a second. Misty spoke to investigative journalist Art Harris just a couple of days ago, claiming the kids love her more than their biological mom.
Love Haleigh more than anything in this world. That was like my baby. They used to call me stepmom. You know, they'd rather be with me than their own mother.
We need a shrink on this one. Belisa Vranich, it's getting nastier and nastier. I think it's because there's a vacuum of information about where little Haleigh is. People are getting agitated and tense, and they're taking it out on each other.
Absolutely. We are missing information here, and I think people sense that there are distractors. There are things that have to do with the complicated family, but what about Haleigh? So we are missing information. You're right on target that your gut on that is correct.
All right. Now, we made some calls, and as we said, no criminal history available for Misty, who is only 17 years old. However, as Rick Robinson mentioned a second ago, Ron Cummings has numerous drug charges in his history, including possession of cocaine, cannabis, use of drug paraphernalia, maintaining a drug vehicle.
And imagine he was awarded custody.
But, okay, it goes on and on and on. What I can say is that Ron Cummings, and it's important to point this out, has never been convicted of any drug charges, okay? Now, he and Misty have known each other for years. They might run in the same circles. Rick Robinson, would cops be wise to test Misty for drugs as part of their investigation? Should they have done that the very first night? Do you think they've done it?
They may very well have done that. And to be perfectly candid, Jane, I'm not absolutely convinced that that child went missing that night. That's what everybody's reporting. That's what everybody's being led to believe. But for all we know, that child went missing days prior to that, maybe 2 weeks. I know that Crystal said that she had seen the child 2 weeks prior to the disappearance, when Haleigh disappeared. So I'm just wondering, did the child really disappear that night? Did something else happen?
And you know, Jane, when you're looking also, you're talking about she doesn't have a criminal record. I mean, what do we have to look at? Her elementary school records, her middle school records, her high school personnel record. That's where you're going to find her record. I mean, she was a 16-year-old girl. Now she's 17. She's married. This whole thing is just a colossal circus. Can you imagine this poor missing child? We see a marriage take place, and now there's a custody battle going on. Does anyone remember this Haleigh?